Welcome back, everybody, to Thanks for Your Concern. You are here with Ella.
And I'm Berenice. Welcome back. Oh, wow, that was screechy as hell, but hope you like that.
The fresh vocals, post-weekend vocals. Love to see it.
Oh, yeah. What were you up to this weekend, Ella?
What was I up to this weekend? Honestly, I was going to give... I'll give my update next. What's your update?
Okay.
It just leads into what we're doing, so it makes sense.
Okay. Well, what did I do this weekend? So this weekend, actually, I went to a rave, at Beyond Wonderland, which is, like, the one that I used to go to since I was, 18, in Washington. And I met, a few cool people. Actually, they're friends with Jackson, one of our friends that, we went to college with. Beyond, there was an active shooting, and then the next day they kept the campgrounds open because some people are from out of state. So my sister and her friends decided to stay. I was miserable. I wanted to leave, and they came back with Jackson. And Jackson was like, "You have to stay." And I was like, "Baby, for you, anything." So we love Jackson. He's just a great human being, but he was camping next to some New York people. So basically, I met a whole bunch of people that day that we were, I guess, that extra camping day. And my friend, who kind of was my friend, but not really, invited me basically to a show. I met up with a bunch of New York people. So now I have New York rave friends, which I didn't see in the bingos. And then I also had my pop-up this weekend, which was a really cool sort of experience. It was at a screen preaching place. So I got to network. I was like, girl, it's about to get cold. I have no cuddle buddies. How about I work for free and you teach me how to make screens? And she was like, word. So I think I'm going to do that. That might be my fall thing, just because you can basically, you can screen print anything. You can make signs, you can make even the tags on clothing. You can anything that you can probably print something on, it's endless opportunity. So I was like, I feel like this is a pretty useful skill to have if I just want to incorporate that into any clothing I make. So that was really cool. Fun. I know. I'm trying to be as productive as possible. I'm trying to get my shit together. We're back on the sober curious train. I just feel like my body is tired. My body's cut your shit out, girl, so that might be something we set up in fall. I don't know yet. We'll see. How are you? What have you been up to?
Well, we love that.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna. So I've been having a swell time. Just having a swell great time. But I've been going to this new therapist, and I swear to God, therapy for me is crying about things I didn't know I cared about. It's just an hour long cry sesh about things I was I didn't even know I was gonna cry about this. And it's really not even deep things. I just think sometimes I just get overwhelmed with thoughts, and when I speak it to a stranger, it makes my thoughts seem kind of more crazy, oh my God, girl. And this latest cry session was, I was just basically talking about most days I have my shit together, as much as the next person, but then there are days I wake up and I'm just back in Pullman, Washington, and I'm running around and I was talking to her about how I've kind of always been like this, it's kind of my go-to, if I didn't actively try not to be a chaotic, unhinged person, that's who I would be.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, when did it start? Let's talk about that. I was like, bro, as long as I can remember, in college, me and my roommate, we had this daily thing where we would legitimately, we'd be running around, we're throwing eggs into microwaves, we're pouring coffee into mugs to take. We weren't even taking them in thermoses to go. We're taking it in a fucking open mug, trying to run to the bus stop with a fucking egg sandwich and a fucking full mug of hot coffee, running to the bus stop. And this wasn't a once in a while thing. This was a everyday thing. And I was like, bro, I don't know. It's so stressful to, first of all, just be kind of neurodivergent in the way where I run into a room and urgently need to do something, but then completely forget what the fuck I'm doing. So I'm just literally running around my house not knowing the fuck is going on. And that happens like, I don't know, like twice a week.
Yeah.
And I was talking about it, and she was like, "Well, at least it's just twice a week. It's not every day, like, And she also was like, "I think you need to lower your expectations," because I was talking about how I was like, "I'm trying to meditate and journal in the morning, and then I don't get to it, and then it bugs me because I know I'm more centered if I do those things." And she was like, "Dude, you need to like if you want, yeah." She literally told me to chill the fuck out. I need to lower my expectations. And she was like, instead of beating yourself up for not meditating for as long or when you want to, let's bring down the expectations to meditating for like 10 seconds and taking deep breaths. Like, if you can't get a full meditation session in, like, don't let that derail your day or think that you're like a less successful human being, because most people don't even fucking meditate at all. So the fact that it's like something you want to do, just need to fucking relax. She basically told me to chill the fuck out.
I have to tell myself this all the time. I can really relate to this feeling because, like, anytime I get up slightly hungover or I accidentally overnap and I didn't get to go to the gym, the first thing I do is, like, I'm disappointed in myself. And I'm like, Bernice, you need to not do that. Okay? It's just like this one time, this one day. Sometimes I'm also like, I just really wanted to be productive today. It's like, you worked already 40 hours a week. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, everything extra is extra. And I guess sometimes I'm jealous of people that like just work and live their lives. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you just work and play video games and like are content with that? Because I really want to get on that train because I've never been on that train. Like, I think for as long as I can remember, I have been like hectic, like always doing something, you know what I mean? And to learn how to relax, I think would be like really nice.
Baby, that's what I'm trying to learn right now in therapy, because I'm like, I think my biggest issue is that I freak the fuck out about things that really don't need to be freaked out about. And she was like, yeah. She's like, why don't we take a deep breath right now? She like literally stopped me and was like, we're going to deep breathe right now. And I was like, oh man, yeah. Yeah, I need to work on that. I need to relax. And she was like, I really honestly think, it's aspirational to want to do so much, but I think you need to calm down. And I just thought that was funny because we have come such a long way. It kind of leads into what we're talking about this episode, because this is episode 156, and I've done the math. That's 3 years worth of episodes.
That is so wild. It feels like just yesterday. But it really does feel like just yesterday when we were like, let's start a podcast. It did take us like a year to actually start it, but like we did it.
We did it, baby.
We did.
And we're going to keep on doing it.
Okay.
But this episode is kind of like based off of the song like Used to Be Young that Miley Cyrus just came out with, that I swear to God is like my song. I don't know, like this bitch really hit me in the heartstrings. But it's going to be a hee hee ha ha, but a fun. So I'm excited for this episode.
Let's get it.
Okie dokie, baby.
Sometimes I still feel like hectic and slightly chaotic at times. I forget to reflect on the like person I used to be. But then I get like a nice tickle feeling that I'm doing fine, because I used to remember that I used to like hoard beers at frats when I was like 18. You know what I mean? Like when I was 18, I'd be like, I should plan my drinking strategy for the night, and I'd go and I'd hide beer cans turned upside down around fraternities, so I'd always have available stash wherever I went to in my night. And I feel like maybe if I can grow from that, then we can do anything, and I can be anything I want to be, because that was like bottom of the barrel.
It's so crazy because I sometimes see people. I randomly saw this person at Lollapalooza who, we were sorority and fraternity social chairs together, so we planned the parties together a lot of times, and This man, he just has a special place in my heart because he used to like he hooked up with one of our friends and like at one point she like jumped out the window and like she was just crazy and it was just so fun. But I saw him and it was so weird because it was like seeing someone from like a dream or a past life because it's like I literally can't believe I used to be so fucking crazy. Um we used to do crazy shit and I think a lot of it did have to do with just like being so young and like I kind of like love that I had a crazy phase because it really just like leads to a very serene and I don't know, I just feel like I haven't missed out on anything. I've done fucking everything, babes. I've done everything that I need to do to feel like I've explored every avenue of craziness.
I don't even feel like I was crazy, and the thing is, I believe that it was so normalized to be so chaotic and unhinged in the university I went to, like, and the high school I went to, that now when I meet like normal people and I share my experiences growing up, they're like, no, we didn't get into any of these things until like later in life. And I'm like, mm, I see. I see. And I will say something about getting to be crazy earlier in your life. Then you get to my age, and some people start getting into their crazy stage because I feel like everybody has a stage in their life where they have felt like you either did the crazy thing when you were younger or you're starting to do the crazy thing now. And if you didn't do the crazy thing when you were younger, you get to an age where you either break up with like a long term boyfriend and girlfriend, or you finish med school, or whatever it is that you are working on that you were so focused on, and you're like, who the fuck am I? Because you didn't do all the crazy things, okay? And sometimes the crazy things really make you stable. I feel like I'm at the point in my life where I'm the most stable I've been in a fucking minute. Like, I can tell you exactly who I am, the things I like to do, and the things I don't like to do, based on the things I already did. Some people are like telling me they're dwindling and this and that. And I'm like, I cannot relate and I cannot match you in that energy because that version of me was like 7 years ago, and I don't plan on opening that baby back up. Like, I remember her, and I was like, I can't even think of how you must like wake up in the morning feeling. I can't think of your journey right now. I'm just too old for it. I feel like an old soul.
Have you seen that there's a new ultimatum
Yeah, but I
season?
haven't watched it.
Oh, honestly, I almost feel too old for it. It's like giving me such anxiety to watch it because a lot of it is just like young people. It
Uh-huh.
just feels like such young people trying to figure it out. But one of the people on there, someone was like, I don't think you know who you are. And the person agreed with them, like, yeah, no, I don't think I know who I am. And I'm literally like, holy shit, you don't know who you are? What does that mean? Like, what does it mean, Basil? Like, I literally was like, that seems like so long ago of not knowing who I am. But it was only because I have been put into some sticky fucking situations where like when you're a part of a fucking literally criminal, I don't even know, but like when you're about to get arrested and it's either like you're deciding whether to snitch or not, those are the moments where you kind of figure out where you're like who the fuck you are. These really stressful situations that life does not prepare you for. You know, your parents try to set you up the best that they can, but you fucking have to decide right then and there, like, who the fuck am I? And those are like the crazy situations where you kind of figure it out.
That is very true. I think the more situations that you put yourself on, the more mistakes that you make. Like, that's your crazy stage. But like with the mistakes that you make, you also learn if your response was something that you agree with later on, right? Like, I we are not perfect human beings. I think that is quite clear. If you ever see pictures of us from college, you're like, oh, I'm glad those girls are aging like fine wine. Look at them. They're so composed now. um, yeah. And I think that part of that was really making the bad decisions and reflecting and being like, you know what? I don't want to be that person anymore. Like, I think like while they were happening, it was the best that I could do at the time. But now that I get to actively choose based on those past experiences, I'm always like, I want to handle that situation completely different than how I've handled it in the past. But you gotta go through your crazy stage to those like hard situations that you may that life puts you in, and decide what the fuck you're gonna do, right? And I think like we have also talked about like the universe whispers before it like screams or whatever. And I have really taken that into consideration that like during my crazy stages, and maybe you're in your crazy stage right now, if something happens and then it happens again, like a similar situation where like it's kind of like not a good outcome, but it's not like the worst outcome that could have happened, and you get two of those, the third one is gonna be bad. Is gonna be the worst possible. And I think like by the second time, that's your opportunity to be like, hey, you gotta snap out of it. Because in college there were several times where I was put into situations where it's like I shouldn't have been drinking on the street. I shouldn't have been drinking. Period. Like I shouldn't have been acting as recklessly as I did until I got arrested and being up by a cop. You know, like, and could have that been avoided had I listened to the universe telling me to calm the fuck down? Yes. And then I had to go learn my lesson the hard way. The universe said, "Here, bitch, you haven't learned. Let's learn." You know, and I think like Ella, similarly, there were situations where she put herself in danger until, you know, bitch ended up in the hospital too many times, and the universe said, "Bitch, it is time to change." So yeah, we used to be crazy.
And shit, honestly, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, this has been a very long journey. Like, it's 2023. I started making mistakes in like 2013, okay? And I didn't figure shit out until like 2022, 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been figuring shit out slowly, but like, this has been a very long journey. And now I kind of look back and like, honestly, I've always been thankful for bad experiences because I think that they like teach you a lot. And now it's like, I just can't even imagine myself like, I don't know, like it's kind of like a funny thing when you're like, dang, like I wonder, like I really couldn't get arrested at this point unless I'm doing some type of like
Felony.
like yeah, I mean like unless I'm like gonna rally or something, but like there were so many situations where like I could have gotten arrested and done some serious jail time if like things did not go my way. There's times where I have been hospitalized probably more times than anyone else. Really happy I came out on the other side. Now I'm very thankful that I don't really do any of that shit anymore. But then again, I'm like happy that I kind of did it because where would I be now? You know?
Yeah, and I do see a lot of people around my age, especially men, honestly, that are like in their little feral hours because they just like didn't get to do that when they were younger. They didn't go to college, etc. And I'm just like, I wish you the best. I feel like the stakes are higher when you get older, and
Hell
I
yeah.
can't be near it because when you're in your crazy phase, like some people can have it down and wild out, like cute. There's like a cute crazy phase where you're like, like exploring, getting to know myself. There's people that have like sexual awakenings and are trying threesomes, foursomes, orgies, whatever. As long as you're safe and whatever, I think like your journey is your journey. But then there's people that like will literally go on benders, screw hella people over, lie to people, and then they're like, then that's toxic. So I would say like if you haven't gone through your crazy spiritual awakening, keep it cute, baby. Keep it classy. Have like an
Yeah.
accountability buddy. Somebody that you're like, hey, I'm gonna go find myself. But if you see things getting a little array, like if you see me kind of wilding out, maybe like check in with me.
I will say, I was like thinking about this the other day, but I was just like, oh my god, like when it comes to like sexual awakenings, like at this point, I don't even think that I could have like any different sex than I've already had or sexual experiences. Like I'm sure there are some things, but like I fucking feel like I've gone through it, done it all, and it's like led me to the place where I'm like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. Like I think it's okay to change your mind. I'm for how much I've hooked up, I'm really not a hookup girly. Uh I'm just saying, like, I think like I liked being fun and like do anything and try anything and be wild and crazy, but like mentally I'm just not that person, you know? Like it goes against
It's like turns out I'm way more vanilla than I thought I was.
oh my god, not even vanilla, but it's just more like I've had like so much bad sex that I like at this point just am okay. Like, I'll have sex with someone that I'm committed to, but like, I don't need to like Russian roulette on whether I'm gonna have a good experience or not. And people are like, oh, you know it in the foreplay, you know it in this, you know it in that. And I'm like, babes, I've been disappointed, okay? Or like
Too
I'm
many
a
times.
I also like I feel like I've given people chances because I'm like I'm just like I really believe in people and I'm a cheerleader. So
Like,
me telling
it was
some
really bad, but maybe it could be better.
yeah, like I like believe in you. Like maybe you finish strong, you know? And so I fully am like letting you I'm just giving you your chance to shine and then they just never take it. And so like now after doing that so much, I'm like, okay, I'm seriously just gonna just hold out and just
Abstain.
not abstain. It's just easier that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. But I think it's crazy. I see people that like I used to know. Oh my god, I have to admit something. Actually, this isn't even something to admit. I don't know what the fuck who has something against me at TikTok, but I accidentally messaged my ex. Like, you know like how you can
What?
like send
Oh, the
waves?
wave?
And I thought he sent it to me, and so I was like, because he's been commenting on my stuff, because we have like a little hee hee ha ha, like we're friends,
Which
like
one?
whatever. And I sent him the waves, and I was like, did he message me? Like that's out of line. And then I was like, oh my god, I accidentally messaged him, and I can't message him like, please ignore that was an accident. But he has seen it, and now I'm like, oh my god, does he know that was an accident? I am not reaching out. I'd rather die.
I would rather die too. That man
Right.
was embarrassing.
Holy shit. Let me tell you some red flags on a guy.
Just real quick.
guy-
Just real quick.
If a guy tells you that, I don't even know how I want to say this, but the biggest red flag that I ignored is when he told me how much cocaine he consumed. I was
Oh.
not partaking.
Oh.
Another
No, I knew
Another-
that man was a sham from the beginning. There's a few questions, all right? Here are my red flags for Ella's men. Because men will say anything, okay? That's what I have learned. Men will say anything.
Oh,
So-
that is true.
So I remember, like, my ex-boyfriend was really into, like, taking dabs, right? So this dude was like, oh, no, yeah, I'm about that life, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I love smoking weed. And, you know, my ex-boyfriend was a stoner, so he just asked him a very basic stoner question, and he couldn't answer. And I was like, fishy. I don't know if I like that answer. Because mostly if you're acting...
Fake.
Like, yeah, like, why are you trying to fit in? There's only 4 of us in this room. Like, I thought this was a safe space. You're a grad student. We're undergrads. Like, why are you trying to be cool? That's fucking weird. And, like, same thing when people, like, pretend they like music they don't like. I'm like, why are you posing, bro? Just say you don't know so I can show you. Like, stop being fucking weird. Those are my red flags. Posers.
Posers.
But yeah, there were some other things that we used to be crazy. Like, you know, we used to take caffeine pills. That was probably very bottom tier as well. Like, you know, like there's people that love them some toxic things. Have you ever tried a caffeine pill? Maybe that's gonna change your life. Like, you know.
So I was explaining this to someone recently, and they were like, I was explaining like, bro, I was obsessed with caffeine pills. And they were like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, that is caffeine in a pill. Like, it is what it sounds like. And they're like, what? And I was like, so basically, you could get a small bottle of caffeine pills, and each caffeine pill had like 200 milligrams of caffeine, right? And we were like, oh, this is like the cheapest caffeine high you can get because
Red Bulls are expensive, and so
are
was
expensive.
coffee, okay? We're the university. Sometimes you don't have stores open around that time.
So you just pop a caffeine pill, boom. And literally people don't know this exists, and probably for a good thing. Like, I don't even know if I recommend it.
No,
like, it's
this
not
is
a
not,
fun...
Don't do it. Don't do it.
It gets your heart go pitter-patter, and it just the, like... And then the fact that, like, everyone in our friend group would ask each other, like, oh, hey, does anyone have a caffeine pill? And people thought we were, like this was a street name for something, and we're like, no, this is very
like,
straight
we bought
edge.
these at Walmart.
We sold them out at Walmart, actually.
Here's a handful. They're like 5 cents per pill.
Sharing's caring. Be careful.
Be careful. Don't take more than 3. It says on the bottle.
Literally. And don't drink any coffee. Don't try to do coffee
Yeah,
and
don't
caffeine
mix. Don't
pills.
mix. Embarrassing. Yeah. You know, I used to we chilled out a little bit in the party life, but I also used to be crazy on like relationships. Like, I don't know what it is, but I hate uncertainty. I have high anxiety. I'm an overthinker. So I've never liked things that aren't super clear from the beginning, which is actually really bad in today's modern dating society, because now you're like in a talking phase for months and my little brain can't take that. I start fucking like hyperventilating. I'm like, so do you like me or do you not like me? Like, I'm confused. Like, what is this? Comes after like day number 1. And it's not that I love you, want you to be in my life forever. It's just I need fucking clarity, right? Because I need to figure my shit out. Like, should I invest any of my time, effort, feelings on this? Or should I just like not do that? So I used to get very, very crazy, so I would say, just at the beginning, because I just wanted answers. And I used to do weird shit like show up to people's frat houses that were actively ghosting me, okay? And I know I wasn't the only one. I know I wasn't the only one going to like our little situationships, exes, fucking frat houses in the middle of the night, drunk AF, and being like, is so-and-so here? Like, girl, embarrassing. But, you know, and that never really worked out for me. I mean, it would work out, like, half the time. It depends what you want. Like, you're showing up at a boy's house drunk at, like, you know, like, 2 a.m. Like, you know, you're there for a reason. So, yeah, the outcome never led to what I wanted, which was love.
Well, let me tell you something about me. I am a girl's girl. I would never throw another girl under the bus unless that girl is me. Okay? I used to say the craziest shit to dudes because I literally, like, I don't know what it was. Like, I think that, like, if there was ever dead air between me and a guy, I would fill it with, like, the craziest thing you've ever heard. I'm really unhinged. I know that I don't think that surprises anyone. I honestly am probably more unhinged IRL than I am anywhere else. And specifically when I'd be like hungover in a guy's bed, I would say shit I don't even fucking know. I don't even know that I meant. I just was feeling crazy, you know, saying stuff that
Young
doesn't
love.
even make sense.
Young love.
Young love. Never about love. It was just more like, yeah, like I'm very chill. Like, you don't have to worry about me being clingy. And then I would be fucking clingy. Because I, against my better judgment, would get attached to dudes who I had no business being attached to. Like, okay. I was thinking about one of my exes, and like the only ex that I ever ended things with, and he was like he was a very nice guy. Nice guy. That's the only person I ended things with. We're the people that are on good terms, but the people I didn't want to end things with were the worst dudes.
Yeah.
Like, you're acting up, like,
because,
you know, F-Boy Island?
They trigger your trauma, right? And we were not, like, in therapy at this point in our lives. We were very young. Maybe that's something that would have really benefited us. Therapy a little earlier. But, yeah, they were triggering our traumas left and right, and we were eating it up. We were just...
Like, you know, like with F-Boy Island, where they try to figure out which one it is the F-Boy?
Yeah.
No, I didn't need to figure out shit. They told me I'm a fuckboy. They would literally be like, I'm a fuckboy, you shouldn't like me. And then I would be like, oh my god, I love you. I can change you. We can change each other. It was never gonna happen.
Yeah, we were in the opposite ends. I was out there being like, so what's going on? And you were like, I'm chill. I was not chill. It didn't work out for either of us. We did not do that great. No. It was them. It was No, I think something that I have reflected on now is that I don't put as much trying to force anything, right? It's like I'm learning how to chill out when it comes to relationships. Like, when I like somebody, I definitely like to have communication with them. Now that I have realized that, like, things just in life happen that are funny, that, like, people kind of come back into your lives from, like, the past, and it's been happening to me in interesting ways, where I'm like, maybe let's not force anything. Let's let life do its thing, because it's either gonna work out for a reason or it's not gonna work out for a reason, right? So, like in the past, I've liked people and I've really wanted to overly communicate and have put a lot of effort in trying to just gain clarity on things and trying to make like steps for things to work. And I think that now I'm just taking kind of like a backseat on that and letting things play out as they will. If somebody like really likes you, wants to be in your life, and it's like a good time for both of you, things are gonna match up slowly. Like they really are, and people come back around just because like you ended something with someone 5 years ago. You might see them at the grocery store in a week. And they might be single and you might be single, and they might be like, oh my god, she was a really lovely person that I couldn't give my time to or effort to because I was caught up on so and so bullshit. So I think like with that kind of like life experience that I've gotten over the past year, I'm just right now, I'm like, I have a little crush and I'm like, you know what? Let's not do anything about it.
Oof.
Like, let's just let the cards play out like they're gonna play out. If they reach out, we reciprocate the energy. And if they don't, I don't either, because I have other shit to do. And let's just see how it plays out. Putting a little faith in the universe, also just like minding my own business, working on my energy. And I think like that's the best thing that you can do, right? At the end of the day, is like work on yourself, love yourself. And the more that I have done that, I feel like the more people see it on you. And when somebody like really fucks with themselves, you can see it right away. They're like, that person's dope. Why is she dope? I don't even know. It's because she likes herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love
We
like,
love self-love.
we love it.
Yeah. A lot of the circumstances that I think I used to put myself in, like the crazy chaotic, blah, 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 I think ended up just giving me anxiety. Like, I literally gave myself full anxiety attacks by, like, trying to grasp onto people that weren't meant for, like, for me. Like, I think that you're gonna feel so anxious and stressed when you are latching onto something that you should really release. And with that, it's just like I literally was physically ill. Like I thought I had gut issues. I thought I had like
Oof,
chronic
yeah.
pain, and it was really just like anxiety. It was like a mental thing. And I didn't fully learn to release that until like I moved to New York and I let go of so many friendships that I was like I don't want to say I never liked these people. Like honestly, like they meant something to me obviously at a time in my life. But I realized that like me trying to keep these friendships, I was like forcing something that just wasn't for me. And like I needed to let go of in order to just kind of like continue on my path of the person that I wanted to become. You cannot become a different human being by keeping the same people in your life. Like that's just kind of what it is. If you have friendships that don't have boundaries, if you have like a lot of things in your life that are like kind of holding you back from being in a different location, in a different like anything, you're gonna start to feel it. And the biggest thing about anxiety that I got super scared in college when I was having like constant anxiety attacks was like I asked a guy that was a little older than me that I used to work with, like, oh, I'm having anxiety. And he's like, oh yeah, mine started in college too. I was like, does it ever go away? And he said no. And I genuinely thought that I was going to be having anxiety attacks for like the rest of my life, and that like continuation. It is not like that. Like obviously even last week I had like I was walking home and I was like, I think I'm having an anxiety attack. But and then I realized like I put in the work. I know how to distract myself. I know what I need to do to get out of this and how to cope with it, and it doesn't feel the same way it used to before. So if you just started having anxiety or if you have experienced something like that, it does get easier and better the more that you're able to cope with it.
Anxiety, that's a big one for me. I'm a little anxious girly. I'm so much better now for a lot of reasons, but I mean, I was objectively living a anxiety inducing lifestyle. Like there was a lot for me to be anxious about when I literally like I don't know, when you have to like put food on your plate and you have to try to get straight A's in college. And I think what really pushed my anxiety was trying to do so much because I was really being told like you have to go above and beyond to make it in this world. Like a degree isn't enough. And I pushed my body past like its absolute limits. And then I was also drinking. Like that also doesn't fucking help. Obviously being sober, like I'm like sober 5 months now, and it's like that's a totally day and night on like how it affects anxiety specifically. But there are people that are dealt a harder hand, and like unfortunately in this life I was dealt a difficult hand, and it was just hard to deal with. And like my anxiety is a lot better, but it is in no means has gone away. But I think a lot of like me acting crazy or acting out was me trying to cope and deal with like a lot of shit without a lot of tools. Like goddamn, like I went from like a very very stressful like high school situation to a very 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 more stressful college situation, and then now that I'm like an adult, I'm like, well, no fucking shit, I was anxious. That shit was stressful as fuck. Like what the fuck, like I was literally like a teenage girl trying to deal with all this shit. And like I don't know, like now that I like look at how young 18 is, because I'm 29 now, you know, and I'm looking like, holy shit, I was a kid. Like, I was literally a kid trying to deal with this shit. And, like, I know, like, obviously Miley Cyrus was dealing with a lot of different things, but, like, I can't even imagine, like, she was a child going through, like, a lot. And it's like, the media, like, portrayed her as crazy, and they do this a lot with child stars. And, like, I can put myself in their shoes and be like, yeah, no fucking shit, you had a little bit of a crazy phase. You were fucking 15 dealing with grown up shit.
Yeah, and I don't think like the crazy stage is like super age restricted. Obviously, when you're younger, things are a lot more. I think they hit you a lot harder. Like sometimes I can see like my roommates having like tough days, and I'm like, she's 22 and she's living in New York by herself, and she's like making it work, and I could not imagine my ass at 22 doing that. Like
Oh,
I was
yeah.
a dumbass. So I give her props, and I hope that she's giving herself as much props as I'm giving her, because it is hard. And I think like if you get older and you are under a lot of fucking stress and you start acting out, like first thing, like tell somebody that you're struggling. um if you are feeling like that crazy face coming on, just let somebody know what's going on, because a lot of it was like my ability not to tell people how I was feeling and all the things. Like I needed help, and I was not in the state where I felt like I could communicate that I needed help and how I needed help. Like I needed structure. I basically needed somebody to fucking hold my hand through a couple of things so I could get it back together. And I think like that's very valid at any age. Like at any age, like class, like social economic class, that's something like that can move around at any point, and that is one of the most stressful factors in your fucking life. Like if you don't make money, you can't feed yourself, everything else is going to feel like woo, and then you might want
Yeah.
to start drinking, you might want to start dating a ton of fucking people just to like feel some sort of stability or some sort of like soothing behavior that might be with like instant gratification that comes with a lot of other things. So yeah, I would tell somebody like if you're starting to get onto the unhinged side, something's going on, and how you would like somebody to help you realistically. But like sometimes we need a hug, we need somebody to hold our hand through something, and it's fair to see if somebody is there that you can ask that, or if not, just let somebody know that that's something that you are going through. Because it can be so lonely to be in your crazy stage and people just think like, oh, she's batshit, she's like going through shit, but they don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Communication.
Hindsight's 2020. I think that if I had like an ounce of the perspective that I have now, things would go differently. And I can only like look at this stuff with like time. And I honestly feel like you just have to like, if you're going through something, maybe give yourself a little bit more of a like gentle lens, or like, because it's really easy to beat yourself up once you have more information, you know? But once you're in the thick of it, you don't know, you don't have that perspective. So if you're looking on like things you've done in the past or what you're going through right now, and you don't have sense of like the decisions that you're making because you don't feel great about it, like give it a little bit of time. Just take what you know now and make good choices going forward.
And then you get to say, I used to be crazy.
I used to be crazy.
So crazy.
Talking about using to be crazy, I would just want to like 3 years of this podcast is nuts, and I mean, I don't reflect on old episodes that often, but I was like, okay, let's look at some of our like iconic episode titles. And I was like, dude, we've been so unhinged. I fucking love it. One of our second episode was pro whoring around. That
I'm
is,
still pro whoring around.
I am too, but I just think that is a bold episode title. Like when you're straight out of the game, I love it.
I think Emma, one of our like friends, was on that podcast, right? Yeah. And she's pro whoring around. She's married. She's doing great. In case anybody's wondering, considering how Emma's doing.
Oh my god, we love that.
I know.
Another one is they're canceled. Are we next? We haven't been canceled yet.
I have been cyberbullied a few times though, so I think that's kind of there. They try to come for me. I was like, they're like, you're a fucking gentrifier. This is not even Bushwick. This is Queens, and I'm like, sorry, I was just making a video, but like, valid. Yeah.
Valid. Another one I love is post-COVID thoughts. TOTH,
like a thoughtie.
Like a thoughtie.
I mean, I did become like kind of a thoughtie after COVID, so like maybe I manifested that one,
I don't know. I was like thoughty. I have not heard of that word in a while. That is like kind of out of like. That's such a like. I don't feel like I hear that as much anymore.
No, yeah. Last year, that girl vividly called me a thought. She was like, "You're a thought," and I said, "Yeah, I am." And then she pushed me. And then she pushed me. Yeah, and then I was like. Oops!
I thought you were giving me a compliment.
I thought we were gonna hee ha ha about this later. No. Yeah. How not to get murdered. That was a good one.
We're still here, so we did something right. We've not, knock on wood.
Listen, there is a serial killer right now. Well, they don't know if it's a serial killer, but like 2 men got snatched outside of Brooklyn Mirage. Yeah, and I'm like, man, you just can't be wearing slutty clothes like that. You can't be showing thigh in public. You can't be inebriated walking around. It's unsafe, papi.
They should listen. We've outlined how not to get murdered, dude.
But like obviously like it's serious, but like I'm like, yeah, you have to be vigilant. Like I think obviously like everybody's in danger, but something that like as a woman you have to think about is how unsafe you are at all times. So yeah, as a man you also do. America the rebrand. Damn. I think that was a solid episode, honestly. If you haven't listened to that one, that was a pretty good one. Where we pitched how we thought America should rebrand, all aspects. I don't think any of those things actually came true, but I think that those are still solid ideas.
Yeah, I honestly, we're still, I don't know, we need a rebrand. Things are not going well, things are still not going good, but maybe we'll send little Joe Biden our America the rebrand, and he can like really put a final push before the next election cycle. He's like, I got this business plan for America, and this is what we're doing.
I think that would be very beneficial for him.
And then the last one, Lana Del Rey and nicotine addiction.
Yes, a thesis. Actually, because Lana was on tour this year and was like at Lollapalooza, I did see a lot of like Lana content of people like with the cigarette, and I was like, I'm telling you, this is a thing. Like,
it is.
It's a thing that I actually think should be explored and discovered. Like, maybe we should really put more thought into this topic about this is a popular culture, cultural movement.
It's just music. You smoke cigarettes too. What can I say? I told you I was in the crowd, and I've never seen so many tears or cigarettes in my life. And it was funny because like there were other people being like, oh, can I have a cigarette? I'm sorry. And then the person was like, oh, totally. Like it's need one.
It's the vibe.
Well, I was like, I think I aged like 100 days in that 1 hour, but it was worth it to see Lana.
It was worth it. That's funny. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening for 3 years. I know there's people that like have been listening for 3 years, which I think is nuts. Thank you.
We love it. We love
that
you.
That is wild. Has it really been 3 years? There's no way.
Girl, it's been 3 years. We've been pumping out content for 3 years, and we still come up with ideas. And I mean, I tell my therapist how much this means to me because it's like my one thing that I actually want to do. You know, there's a lot of things that I have to do, and then this is the thing that I'm like, I desire to do and brings me joy. And I'm still learning new things. I learned something new today. Um, in regards to video editing, we have these on YouTube now, so please go and follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok, all the socials. We're at thanks number 4 your concern. I'm at Ella L Tutor.
And I'm at Berenice at ESM.
We love you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Cheers.